Hello, my name is Laura and I like to make stuff. And this week's video, I pulled out a whole bunch of scrap fabrics with the intention of using them in a scrap fabric quilt. Is that what's happening? No, because then I got so inspired I went and bought more fabric. So, um, basically, I wanted to make a bunch of 9 patches to make up what I drew out here in pencil, and you can't really see it too well. I want to use the 9 patches to make up a larger image. So it's a flower in the clouds that's raining, and there's background mountains, but the flower is also going to be like representation of a sun. It's kind of a memorial quilt for some family members of mine, but I liked the idea of using the 9 patch if you. I'm flipping it upside down because maybe it'll be reversible too. Like it'll have an image upside down. But I wanted the 9 patches to be the squares to make up the image. So my 9 patches aren't going to be um, necessarily super high contrasting, but they will be contrasting in that they'll be different fabrics. Um, I had pre-cut a bunch of the fabrics already for a different project, so I had to cut them smaller for this, which is why I'm using a square. I did later get a longer 2 by like 12 or something ruler so that I could cut strips. And I did play with doing that. Some of these fabrics are from older projects. Some of them are from Goodwill fabric stashes I had bought. Some of them are old clothes. Um, so I was, using kind of what I had here, at least with the blues. So this is going to be the sky, is what I'm flipping through, and I'm organizing them out. Comparing the two processes of putting together blocks. So with these, I did I sewed them in batches, which was a fun thing to try, of like not cutting the thread in between the squares that you're sewing together. Um, it's a pretty common um, construction method that I've seen, at least in some of the quilting videos I've watched. But that compared to sewing strips together and then cutting the strips and then sewing those together to make the 9 patch, I can't say one was necessarily better than the other. I feel like for color choices, I had a much easier time. I feel like it was better in my like a more variety of squares that I got from choosing the colors together, whereas the strips, because I sewed the strips in long batches, I didn't have as many variety of blocks put together, if that makes any sense. So, like, my blues with the squares sewn together, there's a lot more variation of combos of blues that I put together, and there's less of that in any of the other colors. However, I don't uh, I don't mind the strip method either. I think it'll work out for the colors that I've gotten. And here I am showing you my messy bed that has all of this on it. But I did finish up these squares, and I'm happy with the way that they turned out. Um, I feel like some of my corners are pretty good. Not all of them, but I'm not going to care about that. Um, so that floral blue right there was a purchased fabric. Um, yeah. I'm just showing you now all the different variations of the 9 patches I have of the blues. So this is all going to be sky. I did buy sky fabric that's a lighter blue because I realized that tonally a lot of these blues are kind of mid blue, and I was afraid that there was going to be not enough differentiation between the sky and the raindrops. And so when I went out and bought more fabrics, they are a lighter blue. And so I think that the background is going to have this very like, I want it to have this very like um multi-blue color, because I mean skies do that. They're multicolors. It'll be nice. I don't know. I'm excited about that. Next to it is the pile that I have going for my background mountains, some of which I did buy, some of which were from a stash I had gotten from a thrift store. So I didn't wind up using all of the green, but yeah, this is going to be like the mountains in the distance. So I wanted the green to be like a lighter color, because I didn't want it to be, mountains in the distance aren't usually super dark. I mean, it depends on the thing, I guess. So with these, I did try the strip method because the fabric I had, the fabric stash, was all in larger strippable things. And so here is an example of how I was doing that. I did make sure that every batch that I did, I made two that went together so that they were opposites. And that helped me put the 9 patches together. So like the olive green is in the middle there, but it's on the outside on the other strips. Yeah. And then I'm showing you here that I cut those into strips, and I'm going to be sewing those strips together, lining up. I did also try with this preemptively ironing the seams half in one direction, half in the other, so that they could be nestled together when sewing. And I can see how that's a helpful thing to do. Am I going to painstakingly worry about that for the entire construction of this quilt? No, I don't. I think I'll live if not everything is matched up perfectly. I'm more concerned about the larger image, and I'm excited about that too. I didn't want to use the oranges that I had, and I needed yellows for the petals and sun scenario. So I went out and I did get yellow and orange fabrics for this, as well as more orange fabric for the center of the flower, which is going to be like this orange black combo, because I already had some that was like an orange black combo, and I thought that would be great for the center of the flower, like a sunflower. So yep, I cut these into strips and did that, sewed them by strips. They were ironed. It doesn't look like it, but they were at one point. I'm happy, really happy with the colors I chose for the flower sun. I think they're going to look awesome. Here are just more 9 patches I have for the background, the background mountains at the bottom of the quilt. I'm actually, no, I think I counted, and I think that I'm okay with there. I'm finding out that I wound up being a little bit short on the center of the flower with how many squares I made, and as I'm assembling them now, the leaves I didn't make enough for, and so I'm going to have to make more 9 patches. Here are my little piles of how I was sewing them. This took, there are so many, I think the total is like 400 something squares I needed to make. I hope I have that many. Have I counted them in total? No. I'm pretty sure. I mean, I can always make more. But yeah, here are my final stacks. So the dark blue that you see there, I'm using for the raindrops, and I did have the fabric I had, it did come from my stash, so there are strips that I had gotten I wanted to put on the bottoms of skirts. So like the fabric came where it was printed in long strips so that you could cut them in strips. And unfortunately, the strips, I had a feeling, but I wasn't positive how it would work out. But some of them are a little bit skewed because there were like half of the fabric was like smaller than 2.5 inches, like the strips were, and so they wound up being cut weird because I was trying to use up all the fabric. But that's okay. So we have gray and white for the clouds, blues for, well, that whole stack is just white on white. For the clouds, I realized that differentiating, I'm going to need to have different blocks for the different areas of clouds to make it look like there are, it's not all just the one same thing. So we have the clouds, we have the sky, lots of sky. We have the petals with yellow, and those are going to go from orange to yellow at the tip. I'm excited for that. But yeah, so this is what I've been working on. I apologize that the quilt that I have on my bed is also very vibrantly colored, so I'm not sure how well you can see the squares from up here. Just so many. Just so many. That green that I just put down, that was, I bought those fabrics for the leaves. So they are not as pale as the background mountains are going to be, but they're also not anywhere close to those. Like, they're not completely dark either, and I kind of like that. So, yeah, we are going to see how this goes. I'm really excited about this project. I'm really excited about some of the fabrics that I bought. Some of them are metallic, some of them glow in the dark. I think it's going to look awesome. So let me know what this would be called, because I tried to look for other examples of like people using previous patches to make a larger image. So like any kind of other patch. But I couldn't figure out, other than just like art quilt, what would that be called? Like if there was a specific name for it or not. So if you happen to know, let me know. If you want to see how it looks like when it's put together, subscribe, because that will be the next video. Because these squares took forever. They took me a very long time to do this many squares. I'm hoping that the actual putting them together will be easier. So, yeah, subscribe if you want to see the final project, or the final top anyway. Yeah, I hope that I will see you guys soon. I hope you're having a good time. Thank you so much for watching. And, yeah, I hope you had a good Halloween. All right. Bye.